The studio lights blazed with an intensity that mirrored the energy crackling between the panelists. The segment was supposed to focus on rising crime rates across American cities. But the real drama wasn't going to be about policy, it was going to be personal. Judge Jeanine Pirro sat rigid in her chair, a fire behind her eyes as the producers cued in Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Crockett.com and composed appeared via satellite feed. Her hair was styled impeccably, her tone measured, and her body language relaxed. She knew the environment she was stepping into. Judge Jeanine had a reputation explosive, confrontational, and often unapologetically partisan, but Crockett wasn't new to conflict. She was a lawyer, a sitting member of Congress, and perhaps most importantly, someone who thrived in hostile territory. Congresswoman Crockett, welcome, the moderator said, trying to set a neutral tone. Let's begin with the recent spike in violent crimes. Judge Pirro, you've been vocal. Pirro cut him off before he could finish. Vocal, I've been honest. The problem is lawlessness. These progressive politicians, like her, she pointed at the monitor. They've gutted law enforcement, coddled criminals, and now they want to act shocked when the streets are unsafe. Crockett smirked, not even blinking. Let's not pretend you're here to debate in good faith, Judge. You yell about crime, but you never talk about the root causes. Poverty, policing, abuse, systemic injustice. That was all Pirro needed. To go full throttle. Root causes, Pirro shouted. Don't give me academic nonsense. You and your kind talk in circles, while people die in the streets. You want to blame the system while protecting thugs who loot stores and set cities on fire? Crockett didn't flinch. And you want to act like you're a champion of the law when you only defend it selectively? Where was all this outrage? On January 6th, Pirro's jaw clenched. She leaned forward, voice rising. Don't you dare equate real patriots with murderers and gang members. That was not a riot. That was a protest gone too far. And it wasn't lawless, it was misdirected frustration. Crockett tilted her head. Is that what you call attacking? Capitol Police and smearing feces on the wall of our nation's capital, misdirected. The panel descended into overlapping voices, the moderator struggling to keep order. Pirro waved a dismissive hand. Don't twist my words. You just want to silence people who don't bow to your radical leftist narrative. Or maybe, Crockett replied coolly, I just want consistency. Because when it's black or brown protesters demanding justice, suddenly it's a threat to public order. But when it's white rioters with Trump flags breaking windows, it's passion. The tension was thick. Producers in the control room were scrambling. They had seen this trajectory before, but today felt different. One assistant producer tapped the director and whispered, "Play it, now." The screen behind the panelists flickered unexpectedly. Pirro's face twitched as she turned to see a clip rolling her own words. Aired live on the same network. Just over a year ago. She had no warning. The clip was clear, unedited, and devastating. We don't prosecute people for loving their country too much. Pirro had said on air in the days following the Capitol attack. They're not terrorists. They're just passionate Americans who felt unheard. She had gone further. You can't compare that to the BLM riots. Those were anarchists. These folks were just trying to make their voices heard. Silence fell in the studio as the clip finished. The moderator looked stunned. Pirro's eyes darted across the set, searching for a lifeline. Crockett just stared at the screen, then turned slowly toward the camera with a faint, knowing smile. Well, she said softly. That certainly clears things up. The moment exploded online. The control room hadn't warned anyone, and it paid off. Audiences saw it all in real time. The contradictions, the fury, the unraveling of Jeanine Pirro by none other than her own rhetoric. The next morning, political talk shows from both ends of the spectrum were buzzing, but no one could avoid the same viral headline. Judge Jeanine Pirro dismantled by her own clip. Overnight, the footage of her contradiction had crossed over from news to mainstream entertainment. It had hit Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and even late-night monologues faster than any editorial team could contain it. Clips of JasmineCrockett.com. Poised demeanor, especially the moment she delivered. That's exactly the context. You set for yourself were stitched into everything from comedy sketches to political ads. People were calling it the clip heard round the country. Inside Fox News. Chaos reigned. Pirro had stormed off set once the cameras stopped rolling, fuming over what she called a total betrayal. According to leaked texts from a staffer, Pirro yelled that someone's getting fired for that. But insiders knew there was no sabotage. The control room had merely cued a clip that was available to anyone, a segment she herself had aired proudly not long ago. Crockett, meanwhile, was flooded with media requests. CNN, MSNBC, The View, and even a few podcast giants reached out, but she didn't do the usual media tours. Instead, she picked one appearance, Morning Joe *, when she appeared. Host Joe Scarborough chuckled even before the introductions were done. "Congresswoman, I think the country owes you a thank you for the best television moment in weeks." Crockett smirked. "I didn't do anything special. I just showed up and let the receipts talk." Did you expect that clip to be played? Mika Brzezinski asked. Not at all, Crockett said. But I was ready for her to go off. She always does. I didn't need to yell. People have gotten real good at spotting fake outrage. That line alone sparked another viral wave. #fake trended for nearly 48 hours. Meanwhile, conservative pundits were divided. Some defended Pirro, insisting her remarks on January 6th had been misunderstood. Others, like a few younger voices on right-leaning blogs, admitted the obvious. Pirro had trapped herself. Ben Shapiro tweeted, "When your outrage changes based on who's protesting, you lose the moral high ground." That's what happened last night. Fox News leadership issued no statement, but behind the scenes executives were shaken. Pirro was a cornerstone of the network's primetime appeal. But now, her credibility was fractured, not by a liberal takedown, but by her own inconsistency being exposed with clinical precision. Back in Congress, Jasmine Crockett used the moment not to celebrate, but to double down. In a public statement, she wrote,